Hi there, crochet friends. Welcome back, or if you're new here, I'm Mo, your crochet companion. Today we're making something quick, fun, stylish, and beginner friendly. It's a headband using the front loop or back loop technique. This is the perfect way to add some texture to your crochet while keeping it simple. Why did the yarn break up with the crochet hook? Anybody want to guess why? It felt like it was being strung along. Ba-dum-bum. I know, I got some cheesy jokes there for you. All right, so this headband, it is worked flat. So we work it flat and we work the width first and basically work shorter rows until we get the circumference that we want. But we're going to be working it flat and then putting it all together. For this project, what are you going to need? So first we're going to need a hook. You might need a button. Whoop. Well, I just dropped my button. I dropped my button. You might need a button. Just depends on what you want to do, how you want to embellish your work. You'll need your yarn. So I've actually got a couple choices here that I actually really love this. I love this yarn, metallic. So this is actually a worsted weight or medium weight. And if you can see, it's got sparkles. I love sparkles. So this is actually what I use to create mine. I wouldn't recommend going gung-ho on dark colors unless it's really something that you want to do and you got really good light. You also can use this color, which is the Ivory Sparkle. It's actually got really subtle like gold flecks. I don't know that my light can really see that well, but it's got gold flecks in there. And then another personal favorite of mine is the white with silver flecks. Once again, I don't know if you can really see those flecks very well, but this is just a beautiful yarn. I mean, how could you not like sparkles, right? I am loving sparkles. So you can also use a size G hook, which is 4.25 millimeter. I think some of them say they're 4, but I prefer the 4.25. You're going to need your scissors. You're going to need your yarn threading needle. You also probably, if you decide that you want to put an embellishment on, like the button, you'll want to get some thread. I use a clear thread myself, and then of course an actual, tiny yarn needle. And then I actually like to have my stitch markers for this one because I'm horrible about counting and I can't stand counting and recounting. You're also going to need your tape measure. You got to measure your head. In my case, my fat head. Well, I don't know. If some people say that my head's pretty small, so I don't know. All right, you got your materials? Okay, let's go ahead and get started. But one thing before we start, let's talk about measurements. The width of your headband determines how much of your ears or forehead it will cover. And what I mean by that is the width right here. This is the width. So this is the part that's going to be covering your head and going to be going around your, so you're going to want to measure. This is the measurement of the headband, but we'll go over the measurements that you're going to want for that a little bit. It is the distance between the top and the bottom edges. This is the measurement we'll start with. From there, we'll crochet rows to match the length or the circumference of your head. So eventually you're gonna need to measure the circumference of your head. And when I say measuring the circumference of your head, so you'll want to make sure that your tape measure is around your ears where the headband, or where you want your headband to actually wrap around on your head. For me, my measurement was 22.5 inches. I actually like mine a little bit snugger, so I probably should have gone with a 22 inch instead of 22.5. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to work with this light yarn. I do switch to the black yarn. It's not the best visual, so I kind of flip back and forth between these two in this video. Let's get started. So obviously we're going to do a slip knot. And we're going to chain the number of stitches you needed to match your desired width. How much you want the headband to cover your ears. For example, you might want to chain 10 to 12 stitches for a narrower headband, or if you want to do a fatter headband, you can do 16 to 18. I actually did 32 on mine because I wanted to double up mine. I probably could have gone with 28. That would have been sufficient. So for this, what we're going to do is I'm just going to do a single. And in my one of my future segments, I'm going to show you how it works when you're doubling up your stitches. Okay, so I've done 4. We did our slip knot, and we're going to do here. I'm sorry, I got distracted by by talking. Let me go this way. We're going to do our slip knot. I did it. Oh, I did it like as if I was going to do a magic circle. I hate it when I do that. Going to do our slip knot. And if you don't know how to do the slip knot like I am doing it right now, or you don't know how to do a single crochet or half double crochet, I do have a couple videos. One that has the basic chain, the single crochet, and slip stitch on it, and then I have another video that covers the half double crochet, the double crochet, and the treble crochet. So if you are not familiar with these stitches that I'm doing, I will cover them best I can and as slow as I can, but I would always recommend going over those videos if you are not sure. So we are going to chain, what did I say we were going to chain? So 28 would have been what I would have recommended for double, so we're going to do 14. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, I showed you how to do the, or did I? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I might not have. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. All right, so we are going to do the half double crochet back loop. But first we're going to start with our foundation row. So we're going to go half a double crochet in the second chain from your hook. So if you don't remember how to do that, you're just going to yarn over in the second chain from your hook. You're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. And we're going to continue doing that in every single stitch until you get to the end. Now, my black headband that I did it in a single crochet. I am showing you how to do the double crochet so you can have some versatile. Now, if you really want to get crazy, what you could do, or if you want to have just a nice edge to it, not the ripples, you could just do 1 row of front loop and 1 row of back loop. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here while I'm doing this row, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit. And then when we get to the end of this row, make sure that you're counting to make sure you got the right account by the time you get to the end. So we did 14, we should have between 12 and 13 stitches here. All right, so let's go ahead and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, that's right. That was 13. Okay, so we got our foundation row done. We're going to flip that around. We're going to flip it like so after we do our chain 1. Actually, I like chain 2 for this particular project. First, I'm going to show you how to do the front loop only. So if you look at the V, you can pull it to the side, look at the top, and you're going to look at your braid and your V. So we're going to skip this first one because our chain is considered our first stitch. So then we're going to go into our next one. So this would actually be number 2. We're just going to go in that front loop only. So we got the back loop and we got the front loop. We're going to go into the front loop only. And that's 3. Hopefully I don't lose track of how many stitches I've done. And there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so technically I guess that first one is not a stitch count because that's 12 and 13. So let's take a look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep. Okay. So we don't count that first chain 2 as a stitch. Now, we did a front loop. Now, let's look at the back of that. You see how we've got a ridge here? Now, if I decided I wanted all one side to have this ridge, what I would do is I would alternate the front loop and the back loop only. So let's take a look at that, how that would look. So we're going to chain the 2. Now on this time, what we're going to do is we are going to go in the back loop and do our half double crochet. My yarn ball is being a brat, sorry. And the back loop. And the back loop. Okay, so let's look at the front here. So now we've got a definitive ridge here and a definitive ridge here. So that's how it would look if it was, you know, if you alternated the front loop with the back loop. Now, let's go ahead and rip that out. And I'm going to go back to doing the front loop only. And you'll see the difference between them. We'll do a couple rows here so you can see the difference. Yeah, that last one, I've kind of got to move it to the side so I can see where my braid is. And if you have to do that, that's okay. It's actually better if you do that so that you can know that you did it right. Okay, so now let's look at the difference there. You see how you can't see the ridge? It's just like more like an indentation. I don't even know how to describe it really. Let's do another one so you can see how it kind of jives. I do find that the effect of doing front loop, or let's say just doing back loop only, is more noticeable when you use the single crochet, a lighter color in yarn, and if you are actually using a smaller hook so it's tighter. I've noticed that's when I see the significant difference. So even if you were to go down like say a half a size of a hook, you're going to be crocheting more stitches, but that's okay because the overall look that you're going to have is going to be more pronounced. You're going to see more of a texture there. Okay, so now you can kind of start to see that you got your ridge here, and then no ridge, but it looks like more of an indentation, and then you have a ridge. And then if you flip it over on the other side, you've got two rows that you can see that ridge significantly. So it's a little bit more pronounced on this lighter color. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and keep on going, and in my next segment, we're going to go ahead and put everything together. Obviously, this isn't as big as I show you in the black, but you'll see that first, and then you'll see this, okay? Because I wanted you to see the difference between the two, you know, the full size versus the smaller with the lighter color. Obviously, with this one, you wouldn't really need to fold it because it's the full size or the full length that you need. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how to bend and fold just so you can see it a little bit more clear because it's a lighter color. All right, we'll see you back here in the next segment. All right, we made it back. It is now time to do some measurement. So we're going to measure this. Obviously, you can see that I've made this wider. So I actually did the 32 inches, and then I did 22.5. But we're going to measure again real quick. And as you can see, I actually did a single crochet version on this particular one. So let's go ahead and measure it. We're going to measure the circumference, or the length, so we can match the circumference that we measured earlier. So we're going to put our end over here, and we're going to look all the way down to the end. And if you remember correctly, I said mine was 22.5, and look at that. I managed to make 22.5. What do you know? I'll have to count to see how many rows I actually managed to do, and I'll post that at up above here after a little bit, so you know how many rows that I did of the single crochets. And as you can see, I actually used stitch markers so I could keep track of my count. So that was actually 19. Oh, let's just go ahead and leave that there. we're going to do 19 and 19. Hey, why don't I do this? I'll go ahead and pause and count them real quick. Okay, I'm done counting. So I actually counted 70 total rows. So if you are not this far yet and you're wanting to do that single crochet, I would go ahead and do at least 70 rows, if not more. It depends on the circumference of your head. If you've got a bigger head, well, you're going to have to do more. If you're the same size as me, then you're going to stick with the 70. Okay, so I haven't actually snipped my end yet. And I haven't snipped it yet because I'm actually going to use this end to put it together. Let's go ahead and do our end to end this way. We're going to do it that way first because how I want to put the width of it together, I want to do it a little bit different. We're actually going to do a slip stitch this way, and then we're going to do a reverse single crochet. But for now, on this side, we are going to match our ends together. Now, how you do it this way, I want to remind you that you want to make sure that when you're doing your headband, you keep that seam on the inside of the headband because, you know, you don't want that seam to show. So we're going to take our ends. I know it's going to be a little bit harder to see on this black because I don't know, I wasn't very brilliant when it comes to colors because I like my colors. So we're going to match, since we know that we have the same amount of stitches from end to end. From end to end, we're going to match each stitch, and we're going to do a slip stitch all the way across. All right, let's start with this. We're going to slip stitch those together, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn, chain one and turn. Is that how I really want to do it? Yeah, that's how I want to do it. We're going to chain one and turn. So this is kind of like you're getting a little bit of my freeform experience here. So then I'm just kind of winging it a little bit because of my freeform experience. I kind of know that, you know, sometimes you just got to roll with the punches here. Make it work. So we're going to do a single crochet, or excuse me, a slip stitch in each of those stitches across. And yes, I'm going to have a little bit more difficulty. I'm sorry, it's not going to be the best visual because I have black. But know that you're just going to line up your stitches exactly how it is. So we're going to do a slip stitch on that side and a slip stitch on this side. Matching them all the way across. I actually prefer this than doing the whip stitch because this holds it more secure. But you are welcome to do a whip stitch, which is with needle and thread. You're welcome to do that as well. But this is my preferred method because I find that it stays more secure. We're just going to do a slip stitch and all of those all the way across. I will meet you at the other end in just a jiffy. All right, we made it to the end. Now I wanted to do this last stitch together. Again, my visual is probably not the best. Let me get a whole bunch of light on here. So that last one, that's that rascally little single crochet. So you want to make sure that you're getting underneath both of those loops on both sides. Can you see that? And I will demonstrate this again with a lighter color as well, but I'm not going to do the whole scarf or the whole headband. Sorry, I forgot what I was working on. It kind of looks like a scarf. It's big enough. All right, so then once you've done that, then you're going to go ahead and finish off. You're going to take that and undo it. Okay. Now, to do these sides, we're going to take that. See, this is the reason why I did the, I wanted to do this side first because we want that seam to be on the inside. Then we're going to take our headband and fold it in half widthwise. There we go. Well, it's almost there. We're getting there. We're getting there. There we go. That's better. Okay, so at this point we can take our stitch markers out. And since I have a dark yarn, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably put a stitch marker in that very first one. Now, we can weave those ends in. In fact, I might do that real quick. Weave those ends in real quick so that we have those nice and secure. Why don't we do that? Sometimes you can get away with just tucking your ends inside, but for this, since we're going to be putting it on our head, I want to secure it a little bit more. So I'm going to just weave them in a little bit. And then I'll just tuck the rest of the length in. As we're going on the inside, I'm not too worried about it being perfect. We're just going to tuck those in and hide them a little bit. Just want to make sure that they're nice and secure. Snip that off. Take the other end. Oh, I guess I didn't need to snip it off, but I guess I did. Habit. Wonderful habit, right? Oh boy, I'm so sorry if you guys can hear my neighbors. They are kind of loud people, so they just are that kind of a person. All right, let's do this one more time. Tuck that little guy in here. That's the woes of living in an apartment. You can't pick your neighbors. I wish I could, but I can't. All right, got those tucked in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our yarn and we're going to slip stitch around. So we're going to put these two together. And this is the awkward part because these are uneven ends. Oh, and one thing that I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys noticed how even my ends were. What I did on this particular pattern, instead of doing the chain one when I turned, I just turned and went right into the next stitch, because it does have a nice, more even line. I like it better that way for clothing items anyway. Now, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it just, you have to. All right, so I'm going to start at this ornery seam. I don't like seams. Seams are not my friends. So we're going to start with the seam. We're going to stick our hook in there and we're going to add our yarn with one slip stitch. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to do our best to go evenly across each line. We're going to just do a slip stitch. It's not going to be perfect, and you're going to probably fumble along. Let me look at that to see if it's really what I like, what I want. You know what? I might just go ahead and do a single crochet. I think that will give it a little bit more security than just doing a slip stitch. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a single crochet That'll make it easier to do that reverse single crochet as well. Did I even do that? No, I did not. Ugh. I went back too far and then I forgot to do that first chain. All right, let's try this again. And I know on this dark fabric, I am so sorry, it does not really read well on the camera. And I will probably make a shorter swatch of this so that you can see it again in real time. But I wanted you to have a little bit of, see a little bit of variety here. Yeah, that looks better. That looks better. It looks like it's more secure too. So we're just going to do this in every, I've been putting them in each, one in each row. So you're probably going to have about 70 single crochets around. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want it to be nice and even. Because if it's not even, when you do that reverse single crochet, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Okay, well, let's get in there. All right, so got you a little bit of practice there. I'm going to meet you at the end when I have completed this, and then we'll do the reverse single crochet. All right, we made it down to the end of the row, or the end of the round. I guess we were kind of going around in a circle, really. So I made that last stitch. What we're going to do is we're going to do a slip stitch. You see I had my marker in there, so I knew where it was. I'm going to do a slip stitch in that first stitch. All right, and the round row, that first one. So now what we're going to do to make it finished and more polished look, we're going to do a reverse single crochet. Now, if you don't remember how to do this, I do have a video out there that I demonstrate this on. I will put that in the description. So we're just going to do a chain one, and then we're going to do a reverse single crochet. I like doing reverse single crochets on projects similar to this because it does give it more of a finished, polished look. And plus it looks cute. Makes it look cute. See how much different, I know you can't really, it doesn't really read well on black, but it will look better once it is done. And if you don't remember how to do the reverse single crochet, or you have never done the reverse single crochet, that's okay. You can always leave it at the single crochet, or you can revisit one of my videos that I do the reverse, where I teach how to do the reverse single crochet, and then you can go ahead and do that finish that way. But as you can see, I'm just taking my single crochet and I'm going in reverse. Just a little bit of a demonstration there. See how different that looks now compared to this end, and we can see, I mean, it doesn't really read well on black, but you can kind of get the basic idea. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this, and then I will see you back here after I get done. All right, we got to the end of our reverse single crochet, so I'm going to just finish it off by just doing one slip stitch in that very first stitch. Let me do that again so you guys can see where I'm putting it. I know it's hard with this black background, but I promise you I will do it again in a lighter color. So that's what we're doing. It's just a slip stitch in that first reverse single crochet, and then we're going to tie it off, weave in our end, And obviously you guys have seen some of my videos, or maybe you haven't. This is the way I weave in my ends. Kind of. I find a spot and kind of go down the row. I actually prefer to do this on the reverse side, but since the reverse side is on the double side, then that's not really an option. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it this way, and then we're gonna go back the other way, just to make sure that that's nice and secure. And then I'm actually just going to take my needle again. I'm just gonna kind of stuff it through there. Leave a little extra tail inside the headband itself. Make sure you don't cut your actual work. Alright, so there we go. We got the black headband in, and I did kind of take a peek at the sizing for me. So my circumference was 22.5 inches. I like mine a little bit snugger, so I probably should have gone maybe 1/2 inch smaller. So instead of 70 rows, maybe I should have done maybe 66 or something like that. Whatever an inch was. Let's just look at this. Let's see what an inch actually would have been, or 1/2 inch. How many stitches, how many rows that would have been. So that would have been 1, 2, 3. So it would have been about 3 rows for me of single crochet. All right, so in the next segment, we're gonna go ahead and continue working on our light color in the half double crochet. And we'll, I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but I'll show you every step that you need to go through so you can finish yours with zest and zeal and perfection in the next segment. Don't go away. Welcome back, welcome back. All right, so I have got a little piece here that I've got done. I didn't do the full headband, obviously not, but so this is the width that I would have normally done, plus I probably would have had 2, but we're gonna do it on the smaller scale. So what you're gonna do is you're going to, and by this time you should have already had it, you know, the full length, the full circumference that you wanted it to be. Oh, before we go too far, let's look at the pattern that it makes. You see how it has that little ridge there, and then it's got like a different kind of texture right here. And that's what that, if you do it and turn and do the front loop only on each row, that's kind of what it does. It kind of gives you that little different textured. You can't really see that on the black as well, but it's definitely more pronounced on this lighter color. Okay, so we're going to fold this little puppy in half. Yeah, it looks like I had a chain in there first. So we're gonna fold it in half width or lengthwise because we want to do the width first and then we'll do the width, okay? So we're gonna do a chain 1. We're gonna kind of flip it around this way, sorry. No, that's right, I wanted it this way. So your working yarn, you want that on the part that's towards you. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to put our hook in the braid and then the chain part of the chain foundation. Now my black one, I did a single crochet foundation row, and that's just because it's black and I find that it's a lot easier to do that. Plus it does look a little bit cleaner anyway. So we're going to do a slip stitch through both of those, and we're just going to line it up here. We're going to line it up 2 and 1 and do a slip stitch all the way to the end of the row. hopefully mine match up. I didn't count it like a bad crocheter. I was not a good girl. I did not count my last row, so it could be right, it could be wrong. We're gonna find out together. Hey, look at that, look at that. I didn't count and it came out right. We got 2 stitches left, 1 stitch left. What do you know? So that's what it would look like, and then you're going to have a seam there. You can see the seam. We're going to turn that inside out so the seam is inside out, and then you're going to flip it like that to do the width of it. But obviously you can't really see that much, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rip that out so you can see how I'm going to do the width. Now by this time you would have already taken out or finished off that seam that you just did. Oh, looks what I just did. I have to redo my half double there. So instead of going the width wise, I'm going to show you how to do it from the edge wise, and this you'll want to go back to the black one to kind of refer to how I did that together, but I wanted to show you guys how it would be when you're working the edges of it. So if you remember correctly, I did do a single crochet instead of a slip stitch. I found that it worked much better. So we're just going to go into and just kind of poke it in there. We're just going to kind of fly by the seat of our pants and try to get it as even as we can. And do a single crochet. And generally I like to do it in every single row at least, so it's a little more even. So you're just going to do the best you can to get that as even as possible. There you go. So I'll meet you down here at the end of the row, and then we're going to go over that reverse single crochet again. All right, so we've gotten down to the end of our row. And the other thing you can do, I was thinking about that as I was finishing this, because you notice that, we have one side that's folded and then one side you're going to have a nice little finished reverse single crochet. If you want to have a reverse single crochet on both sides, what I would do is I would just do 2 strips of the same exact size. So if you decide on 14 stitches across, then do 2 strips of 14 stitches across, and then however long it was that your circumference was. So if you were like me, it would have been 2 strips that were 14 stitches across and the 22 inches down. So that would have been about 64 to 70 rows depending on your gauge and which stitch. If you did the half double, I wouldn't be able to tell you how. You're just going to have to measure it, but that's what I got when I did the single crochet, was about 70 rows at 22.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to go in the reverse. So we're going to go a chain 1, and we're going to reverse single crochet in that first. Oh goodness gracious, I'm so sorry, I'm out of the frame again. So reverse single crochet, except for that did not lay right. When I have one like that doesn't quite lay right, sometimes I might skip that first stitch and go into the second stitch, because it just didn't look right. And then I'll do a single crochet, a reverse stitch in every single one across. you go. Almost there. And then you'll kind of get an idea what it's going to look like when it's a lighter color. When it's at the end, obviously if you are still doing it just like you would with the black, you're going to put that last instead of doing it like I just did it. Here, let's take one out. And we're going to do a slip stitch in that first reverse single crochet to put those two ends together. And there you would have a nice little edging. Alright, so let's go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and rip that out because I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to finish that and give it away or if I'm just going to use that for another project. Either way, that's not the size that I want it to ultimately be. So we could do another headband like that and just have a single edging, you know, maybe make one that's just for cutesy. All right, so basically you're going to continue crocheting the rows, chain once, turn, blah, blah, blah. Once you've reached your desired length, you're going to fold your headband in half, which we just did, and use the yarn needle to stitch the edges together. Well, you can use the yarn needle and do like a whip stitch, but as you can see, I find that the single crochet or even the slip stitch is going to be more secure than doing the whip stitch. So as you can see, this technique is super versatile. You can customize your headband by experimenting with the different yarns, different colors, different widths, add embellishments like buttons or flowers for a personal touch. It's also a great project for gifting or even just keeping warm in style. So you did it. You did another wonderful project. You were going to be rocking that headband in style. I am going to be rocking my warm headband. I don't know that I care about the style, but I'm going to be rocking this headband while I'm out there in the freezing cold with my dog. So I'll show you what it's doing in our neck of the woods before I leave the video completely. But you did it. So now you've created a stylish headband using a front loop and back loop techniques. How do you feel to see your work come to life? Share your finished headband with me in the comments, or you can even go to my social media page, which is in, whatever that thing's called. Anyway, so next time we're actually going to start exploring the chevron stitch. So this is more of an intermediate, but it is going to be beginner friendly. So if you want to learn a new stitch, if you feel like you have gotten enough practice and you're more of an advanced beginner, I would definitely come and join me for the chevron stitch. Just a little teaser for future. I'm actually going to be doing a project in the future with you guys that has both the chevron and the popcorns. Or is it the baubles? It might be the baubles, but I don't remember which one it is. I'm going to have to check it out. But yeah, you don't want to miss that one. The chevron and baubles. That'll be fun, right? All right. Well, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please like, subscribe, share it with your crochet friends. Until next time, happy crocheting.
That's beginning to look a lot